How to make perfumes, complete guide for 2026. How to make perfumes in 2026. What is new? The evolution of the perfume making is very slow. So far we are still following the rules created from the biggest perfumer from 1966. But is there something new? Where to learn? Is there something completely radical that we can learn today? Well, the question is not really. In today's video, I'm going to explain to you step by step how to make perfumes easily, professionally at home. So the craftsmanship of the perfume making is transmitted from generation to generation. In the past was transmitted from master to apprentice perfumers. In today's world, we have few professional schools where to study professionally how to make perfumes. You have in France, mostly the most famous is in Paris called Isobutyl, and you have some few schools also in Grasse, and the biggest perfumer house like Givaudan, for example, they organize apprenticeships, which means internal teaching of young people how to make perfumes. Basically, this is how you learn. If you are self-taught perfumer or you just want to learn in a professional manner how to make perfumes, there is not much information. However, today, with the help of the artificial intelligence, it's much more easier to find information online. Books were written from the 1966, 1990s, as you see, not much new stuff. However, that's why I decided and created this video, and also I created a professional guide manual how to make perfumes step by step and to achieve professional results with diffusion and longevity. So let's start the video. I'm going to explain you step by step how to make perfumes, and we're going to start with step 1, creating your professional laboratory or setting your laboratory. What you gonna need before you even start. So, what you gonna need? Before you even start making perfumes, you're gonna need few things already to have. For example, something very important is to have a scale. So this is the scale I recommend you to have, something similar. You can find it online in Amazon according to your country, but here is very important that the accuracy of the scale should be 0.001. And why is that? Because when you have a scale that measures 0.00 and you put one drop, the measuring on the scale not gonna appear. If you have the scale that measures 0.001, even one drop, when you put it in the beaker, even one drop is gonna reflect on the scale, so it's much more easy, much more accurate. Not only this, it's important to have a scale that measures more than 50 grams. Why is that? Because when you start making your trials, sometimes maybe you have a big bottles. This bottle by itself, it's already 100 grams. When you put it on your scale, the scale is gonna block. So that's why if you find the ideal scale online, I found one. I'm gonna search. I'm gonna probably put the link on Amazon. Disclaimer: I'm not receiving any affiliating money whatsoever from Amazon. It's just to help people. So search on Amazon in your country scale that accuracy 0.001 and measures more than 50 grams. If you find a professional scale, they work with electricity, they're much bigger, they're much more expensive. I think it's around 150 euros or around $200. In the beginning, you may not need this kind of big scales, but if you find in Amazon something around $20-30, it's perfect to start with. Besides the scale that you're gonna need, you need to find some blotters or some paper strips. So search on Amazon. I found mine on Amazon. This is important because every time you make uh, a perfume, every time you put something, you need to smell to see the evolution. That's why you need some paper strip. And we're gonna need some beakers. Look at mine. I have different sizes. This is a small one. If you don't find beakers, you need to find some bottles like this one or this one. This is a bigger one. This is a 10 milliliter bottle. So I recommend to have bottles that have dark glass because the biggest enemy of the perfume is direct sunlight. So better to have bottles with a dropper like this one. It's much more easy to work with. What else we're gonna need? Of course, you're gonna need some labels. You see how this is labeled here. This is my label. Uh, you can find some easy labels, how to adhesive labels online in Amazon. It's important every time you make a trial to put the name, to put the date, and to put if you need some dilution inside. It's important because perfume needs maceration period of 15 days minimum. And that's why when you have the date, you're going to know what date you put it, how much it needs the maceration. And also when you make some dilutions at home, it's important to know the percentage of your dilutions. Besides that, you're going to need also somewhere to write your perfume formulas. So any notebook you do, for example, you see, this is a notebook, any notebook you do, but I also created one specifically designed to write your perfume formula. You have two formats, one big like this, and one small, which is almost like this format here. And you can find it on Amazon. I'm going to put you the link. Those are my own creations. And of course, if you buy it, I gonna receive some payments as well. It's up to you. So this is what we're gonna need in the beginning before you even start making our experimentations. Step number 2 of professional perfume making, it's about finding the right ingredients. In a bottle of a professional perfume, the one that you buy from the store, you have, I'm gonna tell you what's inside. The biggest amount of ingredient is perfumer's alcohol. Then you may have some essential oils, which are natural. You may have some synthetic aroma molecules. You may have also some artificial coloring and some addictive that enhance the shelf life of the perfume. When you start perfume making, you're not gonna need colorants, you're not gonna need any addictive, conservative inside to make the perfume life longer, because those are mostly for the commercial perfumes. If you go to a scale to produce a bigger quantities, maybe in this case you're gonna need also some conservative like UV blocker or like tocopherol, which is with vitamin E, helps your perfume not to degrade easily. So let's start with sourcing your ingredients. The new things here, I personally find my ingredients in several places as well online. I am based in Europe, also in Spain, Barcelona, Spain. I have the chance that I have two physical stores where I can search my ingredients, much more easy, but I also search online. And of course, a disclaimer here, I'm not receiving any affiliate payments from none of those sites. I'm gonna list the sites in the description of this video. You have one great new website that you can find not only natural essential oils, but also a big range of aroma synthetic molecules and bases. and the name is Freighter Swark. They are based in the New Zealand, but they do international shipping. They have very good customer service, and they are very polite and relatively fast shipping. The other company that you may find uh, synthetic aroma molecules in the United States, it's called Perfumer's Apprentice. I also buy from them. They have different quantities. They have bigger, smaller. You can choose. They have a great range of choice also there. And also, if you're based in Europe, there is one website in the Netherlands. I think the name is Xerxhof. I'm going to put the link. You can also search from there from Europe. So what I have noticed, many of my students told me that the most difficult ingredient to find is the perfumer's alcohol. Uh, there is a explanation about this. Alcohol is very difficult to ship because it's inflammable, and the shipping itself may cost a lot because it's considered as a dangerous good. However, my students told me one website that you may order perfumer's alcohol in the United States. The name is something about vetiver aromatics. I think I'm going to put also the link in the description. So they ship everywhere, I think, in the United States if you want to use a professional perfumer alcohol. About the alcohol, the ideal alcohol for perfume making is 95-96%. Of course, denatured ethanol. This is the ideal one. If you are making something that is like a cologne type of perfumes, you need a lower percentage of alcohol, probably around 86 to 92, because cologne type of perfumes usually they are splash and aftershave. So if you have a stronger alcohol, of course gonna irritate your skin. And yes, so what you're gonna need, you're gonna need some essential oils, naturals. You're gonna need also some synthetic aroma molecules. So let's go to step number 3, or the practical mixing of your ingredients. Before even you start to mix different ingredients, it's very important to know several things. And this is exactly what I teach also in my courses. I have online courses between 3 and 4 hours, and I teach professional perfume making for, let's say, 4 hours online, face to face, live with me via Google Meet, about how to make perfumes professionally. I'm gonna also put in the description box my email if you want to contact me and book me for a session, in order to have a professional help how to make perfumes. So, before you even start composing your perfume, it's important that you have already some information about your ingredients. In the professional perfume schools like ISIPCA in Paris, students first year, the entire year, they learn about materials, which means they smell every materials, they classify them in groups, in families, and they try to memorize how it smells. Well, this is very useful, but it takes a lot of time. And today, with the technology, you don't need to memorize, this is my opinion, every single materials, because imagine we have 3,600 materials. It's impossible for a human brain to memorize every single material, how it smells. You need to know exactly what it smells, but you don't need, in my opinion, to lose so much time to memorize those materials. To help you here, I those materials and the perfumes these days, they are divided by perfume family. For example, the 6 main groups are woody, floral, chypre, fougere. We have also oriental and also coat these days, amber, and what else we have? Oriental, amber, and that's it. Let's say again. So woody, floral, fougere, oriental, um, oriental. What else? Chypre. I'm missing something here. Which one I'm missing? And Cologne. Yes, this is 6. So it's important to know about every single family because this is going to help you to use the ingredients that belong to this kind of perfume family and that they're going to create this type of smell. So that's why it's important since the beginning for you to know in details about this 6 family and how every perfume belonging to each family is constructed because there is a difference. Something very important here, please pay attention. So today we have 3 type of perfume construction. We have the niche type of perfumes, or let's say this is a non-linear, also called perfume, which means the perfume has an evolution of the smell from the moment you spray it. It passed through different stages, and very often the beginning can be different than the dry down, which means in this type of perfume construction, we have 3 type of notes. We have top notes, middle notes, and bottom notes. So in the construction of the perfume, it's constructed in that way that the opening can be different. Then you have the heart revealing after a while, and then after you're gonna have also the dry down can be also different, not necessarily, but you have an evolution of the smell during the time. This is the called niche or also called non-linear perfume. This is how the perfumes were created until the 1970s. So you have also different kind of type of perfume constructions that was created from the 70s until now. Most of the designer type of perfumes were created in this way, or they are also called linear perfume, which means they smell the same since the opening to the end. There is no drastic change of the smell and no evolution of the smell. Oh, this has also advantages and disadvantages. It means you know since the beginning how the perfume will smell, but it lacks a little bit of 3D dimensions that the niche perfumes have most of the time. This is the 2 different type of perfumes that we know these days. So the construction of this type of perfume is completely different, than the niche perfumes. Let's jump to something that everybody is waiting for, the practical mixing of the ingredients. So as I said in the beginning, it's very important that in your head you already have an idea what type of perfumes you want to create. So let's start by step number 1. In this stage, you choose your ingredients. For example, many of my students, as the beginners, they make the same mistake. So they choose randomly the ingredients and they put equal amount of every ingredient inside, which sometimes can be a lucky strike and have the luck to create something nice smelling. But unfortunately, most of the time, they create something random or very abstract smell that is different from a professional perfume. So in this case, that's why I always recommend to my students go first with the idea what type of perfumes you want to create. Let's say you want to create a niche perfume that changes during the time. So where to start first in this stage? Choose how you want this perfume to smell. They are different techniques. This is my technique that also I teach in my lessons, you have to choose what is your main theme of your perfume. So in this case, my recommendation is to start from the heart or from the bottom notes, which means, uh, everybody heard about the pyramid structure of the perfume. This is mostly created to analyze perfumes, and it's not very useful if you want to construct a perfume. So I always start with the idea how you want your perfume to smell. What is your main theme? So perfume may have three, four different main themes, may have only one dominant olfactive theme. For example, if you want to create floral perfumes, you may choose only one flower, for example, jasmine, and you may decorate everything around this jasmine. You may also choose a bouquet of flowers, many different flowers put together, and then you decorate your perfumes with additional, notes. For example, you want your perfume that is floral to smell like flowers. You choose ingredients. You have naturals. You have also synthetic ingredients that smells like flower, and you start with the flower materials. Then every time you put an ingredient inside, you have to smell, what is different. You like it, you don't like it. So we have to make this perfume to last. This is the most challenging part of perfume making, to make the perfume to last. How to make a perfume to last depends of the type of perfume you have choose to make. For example, floral type of perfume, it's mostly constructed from elements that smells like flower. All natural essential oils from flowers, they are hard notes, which means they last up to 2 hours. For example, that's why if you want to make it last longer, you have to put some additional ingredients that have longer duration, or to combine and create accords, and those accords gonna make everything to last longer. This is exactly what I'm teaching in my 4 hours courses, how to create accords in order to make your perfumes to last longer for each and every single olfactive family. So yes, you have to make it last longer, and you have to make it diffusive. In this case, if once you have your main theme created, you can add ornamental decoration to your perfumes, like some top notes, because top notes also create diffusion. And once you have the top notes, you have your heart, you have the bottom notes, you have to see how this performs. For example, on a paper street, you can also, you know, uh, ideally on a paper street, you can also, it's not recommendable, but you can do that. Take a paper strip and just put like this a little bit to your skin, and see how long it's gonna last. So let's say that this mixture here that you have created, it's not diluted, which means it's very concentrated. That's why I said it's not recommended concentrated perfume to put directly on the skin. I personally do it sometimes because I want to see how long it lasts. The best thing to do is, once you have your perfume already diluted to the final stage, then you can experiment to see how long it lasts. This is the good way to try it. So when to dilute the perfumes? Let's say you already mix your mixture. Every time you write your ingredient, what you put inside, and everything is here. You are happy with the result inside, with the beaker. Then how to do? Then after you have written every single ingredient and how much you put from every ingredient, you have to calculate the total amount in grams. Everything in perfumery ingredients are calculated in grams. So let's say you have 10 ingredients. Each ingredient is like 0.060. So you make the total, you see, maybe very often your trial is going to be between 1 gram and 300 to 2 grams, because when you experiment, you don't want to waste too much ingredients. So let's say this compound here of your total, ingredients, it's 2 grams, and you have to dilute it now to be 20%. So those 2 grams, you have to make them 20% dilution. How to make 20% dilution? It's very, very easy. 20%, it's 5 times up to 100, the full, which means if you have 2 grams, you have to multiply 2 grams by 5. You have 10 grams. You divide 2 grams from this 10 grams and you add 8 grams of alcohol inside here, which means the total you're going to have is 2 grams of perfume compound, 8 grams of alcohol equal 10 grams. This is 20% dilution of your perfume concentrated compound. So after you have already diluted, then the maceration period starts. Minimum 15 days. You have to put it somewhere in a dark place with not big inflation. Fluctuation of the temperature must be stable, not very warm, up to let's say 15 degrees, not more, and leave it there for 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, all the ingredients, they're gonna, with the help of the alcohol, they're gonna mix nicely together, and you're gonna see the result. Very often, in the beginning, you may not like something that we have made, but after 2 weeks, when you smell them, you're gonna see a difference. You're gonna notice, you're gonna tell, this is something that I really like now. It's very often that happens. That's why I recommend, even if you don't like what you have done so far, put it in a bottle, label it, put a date, and smell it again after 15 days. You're going to see the difference. Don't throw it away. Okay, so basically, this is how it's proceed. After 15 days, you're going to know if you like it or don't like it. Of course, today, the criteria of one professional perfume are three. So the perfume should have some uniqueness, which means should have distinctive smell. The market is oversaturated with every kind of perfume, so you better make something that is unique. This is a selling point in the perfume, that to be distinctive. The criteria number two is also to be diffusive, which means when you spray, you want perfume to, diffuse around you, to create a diffusiveness. When you pass on the street with your perfume, somebody can be able to smell. This is the diffusive. But if you make a perfume that is not diffusive, you're gonna spray and not even you gonna smell it. After 5 minutes, it's not gonna smell. It's gonna smell only very close to the skin, and this is not a professional perfume unless it's intended like this. Some countries, like northern countries, they like more discreet perfumes, so unless it's intended not to be diffusive, it's okay. But criteria is that a good perfume should be diffusive. And the last criteria is a good perfume should also last. How long? So there is a trend last year that people wanted like super powerful perfumes that last forever, 24, 48 hours. I made all my perfumes on my website that are very long lasting. They last from 6 to 8 hours, and this is, believe me, minimum. Sometimes they last even more. In my honest opinion, I can tell you that if a perfume lasts more than 8 hours, it becomes annoying, which means you spray it in the morning, you go to work, it smells, 3, 4 hours, 5 hours, then you go home, uh, and you're tired, you want to, relax, you want to, like have, like disconnect from the world, it still smells perfume. So sometimes it's a bit too much. So my recommendation is between 4 to 8 hours is the perfume lasting period. So if you want like a super powerful bomb that lasts longer, yes, there are techniques how to make it. I explained it in many other videos. You add some fixative, you create long lasting building accords that I also teach in my courses. But in my opinion, it's not even that necessary to make something last more than 8 hours. It's a bit too much. So this is my opinion. It depends of you. And then once you have your perfumes, then what's important here is to know that, as I told you, the ingredients are measured in grams. Now, after you have your perfume compound, in the bottle like this, let's say closed, you want to pour it in a nice, good looking bottle. And the bottles are sold by milliliters. You have bottles of 30 milliliters, 50 milliliters, 100 milliliters. So, one very important thing to know here is milliliters is not equal to grams. So, for example, in my experience, if you have a bottle of 30 milliliters, you're gonna fit inside around 26 grams of perfume. Depends of your ingredient, which means so the grams are not equal to the milliliters. So you have ready your, and then you pour it in a bottle to fill a bottle of whatever size you want to fill. This is how it's made. It's also important to know that certain ingredients are regulated for the safety of the consumer. There is an organization called IFRA, International Fragrance Association. They every year they issue documents officially with regulated ingredients that in a perfume, in a finished product, don't have to exceed the amount which is inside. Do you have to obey to this regulation? It's mandatory only for people and companies who are member to this IFRA. However, that for the safety reasons, it's very recommendable to follow the IFRA regulations. So far, there is no case that somebody, very few cases in the world, unless you're allergic, get harmed from a perfume. But there are few cases, maybe you have a strong allergy. So also labeling of the perfume is important. There are strict ingredients. I think there are 26 or not sure exactly. Every year it changes. That you have to label, put the names, scientific names on the label, so a consumer can read if they have some, allergies. They can read what's inside. This is also mandatory. However, so this is the complete, fast, and new guide of perfume making. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you want to proceed with your perfume education, you can always book me. I'm gonna put my email at the end of the video with online live course. Otherwise, you can also search for some books and some information online. I also have a lot of free YouTube videos about perfume making. Please check my channel. Check the description box of this video. I'm gonna put helpful links inside, and I'm gonna put also the ingredients I recommend as a beginner to start with. Thank you very much, and I wish you to make amazingly smelling professional perfumes and a lot of success to everybody who starts this great journey of perfume making.